Ever since LeBron James has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, one question has remained on the mind of his critics and his fanatics. And that one question is whether this Philadelphia 76ers team should be considered or is considered a super team. And so that's what we're here for today. We are breaking down exactly what defines a super team, compare this Philadelphia roster to some of the greatest super teams ever assembled, explain why some fans are already pushing back against that label, and ultimately answer one question. If the Sixers win a championship, will it carry the same weight as LeBron's titles in Cleveland or more like his championships in Miami? And so what makes a super team? Before we judge the 76ers, we have to define the terms, right? A super team isn't simply a team with multiple all-stars, right? It's usually built around three characteristics. Number one, elite star power. Usually 3 or more legitimate superstar or all NBA caliber players. So when you think about that, you think of Miami's Big Three, KD's Warriors, Boston's original Big Three, or Brooklyn's failed KD, Harden, and Kyrie. Every one of those teams had overwhelming star talent. Number 2, championship expectations. A super team isn't built to compete, it's built to win immediately. Anything less than a championship is considered a failure. The moment LeBron announced he was going to Philly, sportsbooks immediately moved the Sixers among the NBA's title favorites, reflecting expectations that this roster is built to contend right now, today. That pressure alone is one of the telltale signs that this is a super team. But there's more. The third one, sacrifice. Most super teams require stars to sacrifice. Less scoring, fewer touches, smaller salaries, and different roles. LeBron literally signed for roughly the veteran minimum, despite previously earning over $50 million per season because he believes Philly gave him the best chance to win another championship. That is classic super team behavior. And so let's look at Philly, right? Let's examine the roster. Let's see what we have going on here. You have Joel Embiid. Former MVP, multiple scoring titles, one of the most dominant centers of this generation. When healthy, he's arguably a top 5 player. Tyrese Maxey, coming off another elite season, one of the fastest guards in basketball, already an all-NBA caliber offensive engine. He's no longer just a up-and-coming player, right? He's become a franchise cornerstone. Jaylen Brown, NBA champion, Finals P, multiple-time All-Star, one of the league's best two-way wings, a player capable of guarding the opponent's best scorer while averaging nearly 30 points himself. And then LeBron James, even at 41 years old, you're still talking about arguably the greatest basketball mind ever, right? Still an elite passer, still controls the game, still commands double teams, still elevates everyone around him. Maybe no longer the best player in basketball, but absolutely still one of the smartest and most impactful. That's already 4 players who have either been MVP level, Finals MVP level, or perennial All-Stars. Then you add a young talent like VJ Edgecombe and experienced role players around them. On paper, that is terrifying. And so is this better than Miami? This is where things get interesting, right? When LeBron joined Miami, he was entering his prime. Dwayne Wade was still one of the 5 best players alive. Chris Bosh was a perennial all-star in his prime. 3 Hall of Famers, all under 30. That was arguably basketball's definition of a super team. Philly is a little bit different. LeBron isn't peak LeBron anymore. He's still incredible, but he isn't 2013 LeBron. And that matters because instead, the Sixers are built around prime stars with an all-time legend joining them, right? It's almost like the opposite of Miami. Instead of 3 players entering their primes together, it's 2 current stars, an MVP center, and 1 aging legend trying to push them over the top. And if you stack them up against the Golden State Warriors, right? Honestly, KD Warriors may have been the greatest collection of talent in NBA history. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, that one random year when they had Boogie. 4 all-NBA players, 2 MVPs, multiple championships already. That roster broke basketball. Philadelphia is not that. They're incredibly talented. That part is true, but they don't possess the overwhelming offensive firepower that Golden State had. And if you stack it up to the Boston Big Three, right? Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, veteran stars, elite leadership, championship expectations. Philly actually resembles that model more than they resemble the Miami Heat, right? Except LeBron has even more experience than any member of that Boston team had. And then there are some arguments, because some people say they aren't a super team. And there's some legitimate arguments, right? First, LeBron is 41. He's no longer averaging 30 points every night. He's evolved into a secondary scorer. Maybe third, maybe fourth with this Philly team, right? Number two, Joel Embiid's health. You can't call a team unstoppable when essentially your best player has consistently struggled to stay on the floor. Health is Philly's biggest question mark. And number three, you have the depth, right? Several analysts have questioned whether Philly has enough reliable role players and consistent shooting behind its stars, even after adding veterans like Anthony Simons and KCP. Super teams sometimes fail because the supporting cast simply is not good enough. And we've seen this happen before. Note Brooklyn Nets. Note Brooklyn Nets, the one with KD and the one with KG and Paul Pierce in them. But at the end of the day, I do think they're a super team. And the reason why is because, let's be honest, if your starting lineup, you putting out 5 players, and you have Joel Embiid, LeBron James, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, I'm gonna put in VJ Edgecombe, that is a super team. I mean, come on. Maybe not the greatest super team ever, but absolutely a super team by today's NBA standards. And why is that? Because today's salary cap makes it far harder to assemble multiple elite stars than it was a decade ago, right? LeBron taking a minimum deal is what made this possible. The biggest difference, right? Here's what separates Philly from the previous LeBron super teams, right? This isn't LeBron carrying young players. This isn't LeBron recruiting other stars in their prime. This is LeBron joining a team that's already built. Essentially, right? He's becoming the missing championship piece. That's a completely different role. Instead of being the foundation, he's the finishing touch. And so, is Philly a super team? My answer is yes, not because they have the most talented roster ever assembled or nothing like that. Not because LeBron is still the best player alive, right? But because they possess 4 elite players, legitimate championship expectations, and one of the greatest basketball minds in history choosing to sacrifice money for one final title run. And so this is not the 2017 Warriors. This is not the 2010 Heat. But in today's NBA, where building even 2-star teams is hard. It's hard to get 2 stars on a team. They have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This absolutely qualifies as a modern day, super team. The only question left is the one that has haunted Philly for years. Can this team stay healthy long enough to prove what they could do? Because if they can, the rest of the NBA might have a serious problem on their hands.